See the full animated short at playoverwatch.com.
What a great way to end Sunday here in Week 6 of the HGC Europe. We're gearing up for game number 5, and we are going to Cursed Hollow. The battleground choice going over to Team Liquid.
One of the most stable maps that we have in the map pool to end this awesome series that we had here today. Definitely one of the best of fives that I have casted in ages.
And some of the great playmakers for this battleground that we've seen, Zeratul, your Falstad, even the Medivh, all powerful in this battleground. So it's all coming out in the draft here in game number 5. I can't wait to see what happens here. If Team Liquid falters, I don't think we can fault them. Granted, yes, their record will be tarnished, but playing Ducks is playing so well today.
For me personally, this is really about something we talked about a bit earlier, about Falstad and Medivh for Sport Billy. So right now, I am very curious what the ban is going to be, because normally you're targeting globals, you're targeting maybe like a Tassadar. It depends really on what you're looking for here. But when Team Liquid looks at this, they have to say like, okay, how much do we value the Medivh on the other side? How much do we value the Falstad? Because every time you have Sport Billy, even like Zeratul you mentioned, on one of these playmaking heroes, you're in trouble.
Well, Lucio's being banned out. Team Liquid will have to think about those playmaking heroes. What ones do you take out? Now, Team Liquid is typically one of those teams that doesn't let Tassadar go through, but suddenly you have to start thinking about it here. Playing Ducks hasn't played that much Tassadar in the past.
Yeah, but it's always a risk. It's always like one of these things where you're saying, do we really want to go up against this right now? And you can actually tell how long this takes. Normally what happens when we have the first ban, immediately you have a Tassadar. If not a Tassadar, then the team has at least a very good idea what they want to ban instead. So you see an insta second ban. It's not the case here. They're taking a long time because they are talking about exactly these points. Medivh, how much of a problem is he for us? Are we more comfortable having him on Medivh? Is a Falstad a big issue? And then again, you also don't know how playing Ducks are going to draft this. Even if right now you don't ban that out, they don't have to pick that first. They can take one of them in the second rotation.
The weight of a best of 5 really comes in here, where you come into game number 5 and almost internal meta begins to happen. Dehaka will be the ban here for Team Liquid.
So they are basically playing around the global again. They banned the Dehaka out, so right now playing Ducks, they have a few options. How much do you think your opponent is trying to shut down that Medivh or take it for themselves? How much do you prioritize it? Also, how much do you prioritize the global? Do you go for the Falstad right now? Allow the other... there's so much back and forth right now and so many mind games happening at this point, and it's just absolutely awesome to see that.
Do you want Tassadar? If you don't want Tassadar, you take away the Vala so they don't get the instant combination that everyone knows is so powerful. At one point in HGC Europe, it was like 13-0. We've had a couple losses since then, but it is a strong tandem of a duo. So playing Ducks has all the stuff they have to weigh here, and that Dehaka ban just puts them in that weird spot.
Look how long these picks take. Normally when we are going into a series, it's so fast. Ban, pick, and then after the first double pick, that's where things start to slow down a little bit. But right now, they are going through all the options. As you said, do we pick the Tassadar? What happens if we do? Do they just simply take the Vala? If they take the Vala, do we trace side? Do we go over with an Illidan? But they pick a Zeratul super early because Sport Billy is putting down his foot right now and is saying like, guys, give me that Zeratul. Those Void Prisons will be on point and I will wreck that backline.
Believe in the Sport Billy. Now, Team Liquid is faced with an option here. They've already decided, though, they are moving into Tassadar and Gul'dan. They get to Horrify, they get it set up. All they have to do is grab an auto attack later, and they're good to go.
Are we seeing an Abathur again?
That would be exciting. This is one of the battlegrounds that Abathur can be pulled out on, especially with the Zeratul mix-up.
We saw the double Zeratul for the backline kills. That's what they did earlier. Then again, you still have Falstad available here. You have that Vala also that Chris could pick up. But in this case, an Abathur would help them control the battleground a bit. It's of course a bit of a different scenario to what we've seen on Towers of Doom, but if their idea is still to just jump with 2 Zeratuls into the backline and take him down, that could help. There is a big problem here now, though. You have a Tassadar there. That's also great for the vision to see where Zeratul is moving in, but also, if you're fast enough, that shield is going to make the difference.
It is. And also to note, too, another reason why Abathur can make a lot of sense here with the Dehaka ban being enabled here by Team Liquid. Now playing Ducks on their next phase can ban out the Falstad, and suddenly you don't have to deal with this global pressure coming your way. Abathur becomes an ever-looming presence that really can't be punished. So there's so much to think about for the playing Ducks. They grab their Arthas, and they grab Amy. Okay.
Okay, that's a lot of really bursty damage that we have now from them. Greymane and Zeratul going to try and go into that backline. So Team Liquid has to play, I feel, a bit more of a defensive stance right now. Already they're looking at the Tassadar, so right now they want to protect their own. And this is a setup where playing Ducks are trying to engage into their opponent. That's the ban.
The Abathur ban.
I mean, if you have the Zeratul and you've seen the double Zeratul on Towers of Doom, then already you're thinking about the ban on an Abathur. If you then see the Greymane as well and the Arthurs, and you're like, of course we ban him out right now. Like, that's not happening.
3 targets that you can have that can be incredibly effective. Yeah, we're banning out the Abathur. I was thinking about the Tyrael for a second, because it could get mixed up with the Greymane. You have a Tyrael, Zeratul, and a healer, and you have full melee. It would be pretty ridiculous in some form, but you have so much control over the boss. But Team Liquid also has the chance there to play Tyrael here. That sanctification could be good. We've seen him mixed in against dive comps the last few days.
Yeah, and right now, when we're talking about the bans, Tracer banned out. You have the Tassadar on the opponent's side, and you say, like, okay, we don't want to deal with the Tracer Tassadar. You still can take your Vala if you want. We're good with that. Take the Vala if you feel it's good for you. And there's always, of course, the opportunity for Team Liquid to say, we might take the Vala, but our Tassadar is more focused on the melee assassin, and then you throw one of them in.
We'll see what will be the choice here for Team Liquid. I don't think you pick up Illidan here. That's just something to throw out right away. Arthur's control is a little bit too strong. Greymane also in a 1-on-1 becomes very difficult. So we'll see what we're going to get here.
I actually think one of the reasons why they also went into the Greymane is, first of all, because he's, of course, fantastic for them, but also taking him away from the Tassadar, since we saw in the last game how much Darkmoor can do on the hero. Right now, Blumby on the Anubarak again, the Malfurion for the heals for them right now. So also taking him away, of course, from the Arthur, so that we don't have that Howling Blast into Root. This is typical for a 5th game draft, because there's really a lot of mind games going on, and this is definitely not a draft you would see on the first map.
Yeah. Now, Team Liquid has a spot where they can pick their damage based on what the Playing Ducks get, so they get the best advantage in terms of a counter attack, if you will. So the Playing Ducks now, with their Greymane, their Arthas, and Zeratul, they have great setup with the Zeratul Void Prison. They have a dive in for Greymane. They need to grab one of their healers here. And in terms of what's being available so far, Rhaegar seems like one of the best here if they're wanting to get another strong frontliner.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. Like, a Rhaegar seems to be very likely in this setup. Question is still, how is it going to look damage-wise? Because we can expect another one. Actually taking a long time with this. I would have thought that they'd jump on... I mean, that Vala is still jumping around there. Team Liquid is probably would love to pick her up, but this is so tricky. It's the last game, and you played a fantastic series, but this could ruin it all for you. And they prioritize the Tychus over the Vala, Anderson.
Wow, so Tychus, Greymane, the Vikings. This is an oldie from Team Liquid.
Okay, so that makes that Tassadar really interesting. Great against the Zeratul here, sees him, but it's... Tassadar, in this sense, not protecting anyone to be the hyper carry.
He's not an enabler now. Now it becomes a 4-man rotation where you have wave clear out the Gahu here with the Gul'dan Qs. You have Tassadar, Psionic Storm, and then you do have some solid damage when he turns into Archon level 10. He's mostly there to make it a very painful lane for whoever has to deal with that 4-man rotation in the bottom lane, while the Vikings just soak everything else.
That's also a very ballsy pick.
Yes.
Going into the Vikings right now against a Zeratul, you are more or less guaranteed that you're going to lose a few. The question is just, how much of an impact are they going to have later? This is one of those games that can make you look very, very smart or very, very stupid, depending on how the game goes.
I'm ready to see how it unfolds. Haswabs would probably be on the Vikings there, right? He's the one that really pulls them off.
It's actually, normally I would say yes, but they have had so many different players on the Vikings that I'm not quite sure. It should be, normally it's him. It depends on how exactly they want to set it up here, but normally we have Haswabs on the hero.
That's StarCraft background coming in. It's fun to watch him play the Vikings. I feel like he plays them so aggressively. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Game number 5. It's all on the line between the Playing Ducks and the Team Liquid. Within 30 minutes, we're going to find out who is the victor of this matchup. Let's do it. Cursed Hollow.
Last map of the series, it is Cursed Hollow, and to the left with a fantastic showing today. An absolutely amazing series. You have to love these guys. It is the Playing Ducks with Wolf Joe on Rhaegar, Nandan Tychus. We have Chrisplosion on the Arthur, Sport Billy on that Zeratul again, on that Playmaker, and Chris is rocking the Greymane.
And on the right side, Team Liquid in the red. Splendor on Malfurion. Blumby is going to be playing the Anubarak. Tassadar is played by Darkmoor. That does mean that Haswabs will be on the Vikings. And finally, Gul'dan is played by Nurok.
Yeah, I love that Nurok is still able to push Tassadar away to other players in the team. It makes sense here, of course. So in this sense, Darkmoor on a Tassadar, that's not really something that you see all that often. But yeah, it's time to find out if Haswabs is wearing his big boy pants today. All that Warcraft 3 and StarCraft 2 macro has to come into play for them, or we're already going for the Viking bribery on level 1. But yeah, this is beautiful.
So because Zeratul is on the battleground, the Vikings are playing a different style. We have Baylog sitting in the bottom for split push, and we have Eric in the bush to scout out for it. Eric scouts out for it, which allows Hostile to pull on back and still soak that lane without losing experience. Typically, you'll see one on each lane because you want to get those region globes for their trait. But due to Zeratul being on the battleground, Hostile has made an adaptation, and that was a very intelligent one.
Yeah, one other thing, of course, with the Vikings is that you have to really think about how you want to play the game in the lanes, because you can either try and just push them out. The problem that you have when the lanes are pushed out is that it's easier for the opponent to zone you out and to get kills on the Vikings. If you don't attack and you're just in experience range, then you have oftentimes a bit of an easier time early game. So that push out usually more or less happens when everyone else is focused on team fights. Hazorps going aggressively against Zeratul with that bait, but Eric is dying in the meantime. And that's kind of what you expect in the early game here. Vikings are going to have a rough time, and that's going to continue. Once that we have objectives, that we have boss fights, then it's where the Vikings will pick up some extra experience.
Yeah, they're hoping to etch out an experience lead, but again, during the objectives where it becomes important. When that tribute spawns up, you should see all Vikings sit in the 3 rounds, which is going to be interesting to watch. What does Zeratul do? Does he go and farm there, or does he try to force a team fight on Team Liquid? Now, we've talked about the Vikings. What should the 4-man squad be doing when Team Liquid is using the Vikings to soak? They should be grabbing mercenary camps, and should be putting pressure on a lane. Right now, they're grabbing Giants here on the right, all 4 members, and they should be rotating around, grabbing the turrets, grabbing the experience. You want to use these 4 to do things that you wouldn't normally do because they have to be in the lane and be in body. Now they don't have to be a body, they can move together and be aggressive on other parts of the map.
So both of the teams are picking up their Siege Giants now, just to make sure that once the objective spawns, they have Siege Giants pushing the lane. And in this case, it favors the playing Ducks. The first tribute spawns at the bot lane, so the Siege Giant cap up at the top is going to put in the pressure. Zeratul is currently guarding. Yes, another kill against Baylog. Hazorps needs to be careful here. He's losing his Vikings quite a bit, and they are rotating in to grab that first tribute. Vikings still soaking, and that is something where the playing Ducks also have to make choices. Do they defend the lanes, do they grab the experience, or they go for the tribute? They decide against it, they let this one go, making sure that they're not falling behind in experience.
Yep. Gramian and Arthur's push in the middle lane and grab a turret instead. Due to one of the Vikings being killed off and the other one being brought down to the tribute, that was a wise play by the playing Ducks. You don't want to dilly-dally around. Whenever you know where the Vikings are going to be, the longer you last, the longer you float around, the quicker they're going to get the experience. So making quick, decisive plays are the best way to get ahead, especially when it comes to tributes. Just give them up if you don't think you can contest.
Yeah, and up at the top lane, that's towers already lost. That's a lot of experience, as you already said. I mean, this is an early level 7 that we're going to see for the playing Ducks, so it's a lead in that sense. And of course, they lost the tribute. That is going to give Team Liquid a bit of safety here. And Nurok is now finally getting rid of the last one of the Siege Giants. But it allowed the playing Ducks to move into the middle and take a bit of damage there. So the longer the game continues, the more Hazorps can actually do with the Vikings. At some point, it's really going to force playing Ducks to stay together as 5. If they split heroes off, he will be able to have more of an impact here for the rest of the team. So this is a really interesting one. The game here is awesome. I mean, we had 4 amazing maps so far, and this one is just like putting the cherry on the cake, because at this point we're having Vikings being run, and that creates a whole different dynamic, something that we so far haven't seen in this best of 5.
So the playing Ducks in the last couple minutes have started to do a 1-2-2 in lanes. There is a possibility for Team Liquid to go for a boss rush on the 4 of their members. Granted, they don't have any solid auto attackers, but because they keep disappearing and the playing Ducks don't respond to it, Team Liquid could take that opportunity to do a sneaky play. So watch out for that. Crisplosion drops a Howling Blast, and there is a big rotation under this tribute in the top left. Now Furion does have the poke alongside Nurok to slow this down, and Sport Billy is setting up for a team fight.
Team Liquid is going to try and delay this so that the lanes can be pushed by the Vikings. They're not especially ready for the tribute, but the mid lane is being pushed by Camp and the Viking. They're trying to turn it to maybe even get a kill against Nande. That doesn't happen, but at the bot lane there's even more experience to be picked up. You might have noticed earlier that playing Ducks were a little bit ahead in experience, an entire level. This is slowly changing, and the reason for that is that playing Ducks were able to take towers down. That's extra experience they could pick up. Team Liquid with the Vikings alone wasn't able to do that, but now they're slowly getting the experience back, and it starts to even out.
It's evening out, but it is getting closer to the heroics here. Team Liquid spreads out 4 members, and they're rotating to the bottom, hoping to grab that turret. That turret right down here, this one on the left side, will get them close to that experience evening out they're looking for. They also get a big impale on Rhaegar, which is going to force him to get chunked down Greymane and Tychus decide to go ahead and grab the Mercs in the middle lane to put pressure on that lane against Team Liquid, so Balog will have to rotate in there and potentially deal with that, or multiple members of Team Liquid.
And again, a fight at the top lane for the Viking. This is where we had Zeratul go deep, actually. Sportbilly is always looking for these opportunities. And Hazorbs has been playing so passive at that top lane because he knows fully well that Zeratul is looking for that kill. He needs to be very careful. He has the wave pushes in because this is the moment where Sportbilly is going to try to take him down.
Balog pulls back, missing out on the experience because of Zeratul's pressure. This is the third tribute being spawned. There is a 1-for-1 for each team here, so Team Liquid should just give this up.
It's level 10 also. Level 10 is in play, so that's exactly one of the big problems for them right now. But the Vikings are picking up the top lane and the bottom, so both of the teams with the heroics, and that's where we have play again. And this is one of the big advantages later on if you are able to force opponents to other lanes because of the Viking positioning, because they can jump into the team fight then and try to play around you.
Team Liquid poking here. The Vikings continue to push in all three lanes. Blumby's on the left side just holding the choke here, but with Arthur standing in the front, it is becoming scary. However, Explosion is starting to get low on mana. Big Void Present from Sportbilly. Blumby is low on health. He'll be the main target. Nurok is going to be forced to do a solo Horrify just to keep Zeratul off of him. The turnaround, though, Team Liquid turns that fight and gets a pick.
Gets the pick and goes for Nanda. Immediately the Ancestors were going through just in time. Well done here. But the kill was huge. Still, the tribute being picked up by Playing Ducks, of course. But as you've been talking about, Trixler, already earlier, great kill here. We still have the Vikings pushing the top and the bot lane. So that was fantastic for Liquid. Because what was Liquid trying to do? They were only trying to delay. They were not trying to go for the tribute and get the kill here. They were saying, okay, if we have an opportunity, we'll go for it. But the idea behind this was, don't engage too hard. Let the Vikings push. Make sure that we push on the lanes and delay for as long as we can to buy time for them to get experience. This is why they are level ahead right now. And with those 2 kills they just got, they have an opportunity for boss.
And here's where things can spin out of control if Playing Ducks don't respond accordingly. And they have. They're grabbing the boss in the bottom left. Had they not moved in for this boss, knowing that their opponents were in the top right corner, Team Liquid could have that 4-man rotation come down. The Vikings are pushing all 3 lanes, and suddenly double boss is pushing into. Playing Ducks are going to do the best here to control the scenario. They grab boss, and they can push on the bottom. Tribute luckily spawns near them here on the left side, so they are set up for a curse if Team Liquid cannot deny. Yeah,
Team Liquid is going to start to move in now. We have Eric back in just a bit. He was scouting out the bot lane, of course. So once again, if they can delay, it's good for them. We have Zeratul splitting off, though, so he's trying to control the Vikings a bit. That makes this a 4 versus 4, or 4 versus 5 soon enough. But yep, Viking in the mid lane already attacked as we see the dance around the tribute here. And the constant delays, the constant interrupts by Tacita, by Malfurion are happening here as Zeratul finally kills off Olaf. But we have a Viking bribery happening up at the top where the boss is pushing in since Hazorbs sees an opportunity to push through the top lane.
Sportbilly with the big Void Prism to slow down Playing Ducks. The Playing Ducks going. Team Liquid cannot retreat. There is a Horrify to get Arthas away. Team Liquid just wanting to live for now so they can handle the brute force of this curse coming their way. But that bribery you mentioned in the top lane is starting to apply pressure to the keep.
Oh yeah, so much. But the red team is cursed. Team Liquid is cursed thanks to the tribute we saw. But level 13 for Team Liquid, so they're losing structures, but they are ahead in talents. Top lane is getting pressured. Now we have Sportbilly jumping in. This hero, or this Viking, is going to die eventually. He knows that. That was calculated. But he gets the damage in against the keep itself. The wall has fallen at the bot lane. Defense against the one boss that we saw Playing Ducks pick up earlier, but they're closing in experience.
This is going to be cleaned up. There's going to be a lot of mins here, but with Tassadar in the area, that should be an easy cleanup. They should be able to save this keep too. Playing Ducks do retreat to the middle lane to soak up and top off as the Zeratul did pick off Balog. So 13-13, the Playing Ducks are holding on. What it comes down to when you get to the mid to late game now, when you're playing against a Viking composition, is just getting a really solid team fight. If you get 2 or 3 people picked off, the Vikings have a horrible time defending against a big push coming their way.
The curse was actually fantastic for the Playing Ducks because they still had that boss alive, and without the towers and the fort itself doing damage to the boss, that early boss gained an immense amount of value for them. So both of the teams really pressuring the lanes hard. Team Liquid with an advantage in experience. And I have to say, the one thing that I find is incredibly smart is the early priority for someone like Gul'dan, because that Gul'dan is making it so much harder for Zeratul and for Greymane to get these kills. Every time you see that engagement, boom, Horrify, and then they reset.
Also, Obs running away. Eric too swift there for the big gig on the bottom. And I agree with you, the Horrify has happened 3 times now. One for the Zeratul that dived Gul'dan, saved it because of the Horrify. And then Gul'dan was able to deal with the Arthas that came his way. Lots of great play by Team Liquid as they use that Gul'dan effectively. Now, with that being said, if Gul'dan gets killed off, that tool is gone completely.
Oh, yeah.
And Team Liquid could be in a poor spot. So he has to play on point the entire duration here.
Sport Billy again, chasing the Vikings here. And let's keep in mind here for a moment that we are talking a lot about Team Liquid being ahead, but the playing Ducks actually have more damage on the keep of the opponent, and they already took out most of the forts. So that's a pretty big part here. And it all comes down to, can you take these keeps down? Hazovs is pushing again. He's actually trying to make a play for the bottom fort here. He still has that play again, but we have the playing Ducks starting to pressure through the middle as another Viking takes the XP up to the top.
And Eric in the bottom is actually getting experience and also potentially killing a fort, which will give 16 to Team Liquid. Lumpy isn't looking for an engage here. He's just trying to keep the playing Ducks from retreating away. So it buys more time for the top lane and the bottom lane. Playing Ducks realizes this, and they do get the escape. Zeratul's on his way to kill off Eric.
Yeah, and up to the top, we're having a fight for another one. Greyman jumping in. That didn't happen. But down here, Sport Billy is reacting. So this is the problem for the Ducks right now. We have Hazovs splitting quite nicely his Vikings, and the playing Ducks always have a bit of time to deal with situations before they need to group up again to go for an objective, to go for a push. And this is happening continuously. This is a very good example again. This can only be stolen away because the Vikings force heroes down to the bottom of the map. And it's going so far that the playing Ducks, without the level 16 talent, are even willing to give up that tribute right now.
They have to. There it is. Second tribute picked up. They'll have to contest the next one, or Team Liquid will get a curse, and that should open up the battleground for them. And it's already been opened up. It's just now keeps are the next big target for both of our teams. The fort being focused in the middle, Balog's in the top, Eric's in the bottom. They're just flanking in, so the playing Ducks are making a judgment call. They're going in for an engage.
Greymane is coming from the top, Zeratul from the bottom. They have the Watchtower vision. That was a huge part of this. Without the Watchtower, they don't see the Greymane rotation.
Yeah.
But they have it. They have the vision. They see Greymane coming in. Greymane wouldn't move towards you if that Zeratul wouldn't try to sneak in as well. So they know at that moment, guys, if we stay here and try to drop that fort, we're going to be flanked from behind. So they are moving back immediately and saying, like, hey, we have still the talent advantage. If you want to fight us outside of the fort, we're fine with that. Do it. But now they see, of course, that Greymane moved back and they can safely retreat. But this is the moment when we have 16 versus 16.
Sport Billy with the Void Prison, the 16 on. You're correct. Explosion comes in from the side. The Howling Blast does not connect. Darkmok turns around with the Archon and starts attacking Chris here. The Greymane already at half health. Ancestral burned incredibly early here. The Vikings are in the fight too.
Yeah, Vikings are in the fight and they're going for Explosion now. Everybody is. There's the Horrify, and that's the death of Arsonist. Once again, Tacita in a bit of trouble. We have Sport Billy desperately trying to get a kill against him, but once more that old on Malfurion silencing him, forcing him back. Darkmok survives. Still, the chase is on. Team Liquid retreating here. They got the kill they wanted. Sport Billy, on the other hand, wants to make it a trade. He goes down, but so does Tacita.
They're out to the route to drain life, and now Chris is in trouble. Is being chased down. The Beta Barb slowing it down for a moment. Meanwhile, Eric, the Brave, is in the bottom left grabbing the tribute. He'll get it, and he's also chasing Chris.
Yeah, he's chasing him hard. Now comes Rega. He is trying to save his buddy, and he will eventually. But now with level 16, we also have the stun on Olaf, and that is so important. You can do so much work with play again once that you have level 16 on the Vikings. It's the most important talent if you want to participate in team fights.
He's also bringing the Vikings, so he is participating in team fights. Eric's in the bottom, he's out the fort. He'll be soaking the experience with the push here. The keep is the main objective for our teams. Chris goes in for the engage, looking at Balog. Can turn around and cleave it for potentially a kill. Does force Team Liquid to back up for now. And the top left, there are minions already on the keep. Fort Billy will be here to defend. So the next big push is going to be for Team Liquid in the bottom left. They're actually posturing around boss right now.
Yeah, they're posturing about boss, and this is one of the moments when you want to have the Vikings on all 3 lanes, and that's not the case right now. We are slowly seeing Hazovs trying to push up at the top. They know Zeratul is still there, but that curse is only good for another 7 seconds. So there's a lot of pushing happening, but the posturing around the boss should not really net them anything.
Caldor, this defense from the playing Ducks has been actually really fantastic. They didn't lose anything in terms of keep pressure. They kept a curse off for a long amount of time, and Team Liquid didn't gain much out of it.
Yeah, but Team Liquid is pressuring Zeratul at the top lane, and Zeratul will have to stay there because he's in a spot where he says, hey, I need to defend our keep. We have the Vikings taking control over the Siege Giant camp, so this is a lot of pressure going against them. But you're right, the defense was actually very, very strong. They are heavily pushed back, and the map is painted red as Team Liquid is taking camps. But those two bosses are still up, and Liquid, of course, currently aiming for that level 20 to give themselves a bit of an edge over the playing Ducks.
This becomes an odd struggle where playing Ducks has to make a call. Do they go in for a fight? Do they grab the boss? Do the Vikings just keep pressuring them out? 20 is right around the corner, so now is the time for the playing Ducks to make a shot call.
This is the moment. Look at the top lane. That is the keep that's getting attacked, and we have the posturing for the Ducks. They do not have time. They don't have time. It's the one thing they're lacking. They're about to lose a keep at the top.
No.
They need to make a decision, and this could hurt. This could really hurt them.
The big Impale actually knocked Chris into the boss there. There's going to be the Void Prison coming out. Blumby steps forward to keep everyone at bay, so Greyman can't jump in on the Goldan. The cleanse is instant. Splendor keeping his teammate alive. The Twilight Dream hits Fort Billy, and Zeratul is no more.
And the Vikings are jumping in. The play again has already been used. They're trying to go for Nande. If another Sun hits him, and it does, then it could be the end of Tychus. He's able to escape for now. Hazops needs to be cautious here. Olaf goes down, but that doesn't matter. Once again, we're having a Nubarak jumping in from the side, going for that Tychus.
Blumby wanting one more kill. Does he have an Impale available for him? He goes for the burrow charge. He's hitting Tychus. He's low, but Blumby's gone too far. He gets swiped and he flies across the map.
Run, fools, run. Great kill here against the Nubarak. Well done. They are all on the retreat, and then Blumby gets a bit too excited, goes in, and they call, turn around and body him, and they do it. They get the kill. That was an important one. That was so huge, getting that kill against the Nubarak.
And Team Liquid not having their tank can't even force a boss here now, suddenly, even if they gotta pick off. 20 to 18, they have the advantage. Playing Ducks challenges them here by grabbing the boss in the bottom left. We're gonna need to see maybe a play again from Team Liquid, even have a chance to defend this, but there's no Viking nearby for the moment. Neuralk and crew are hoping to poke.
I cannot stress how huge that kill against the Nubarak was. Now they're going for boss. If they can get the boss, that would be amazing. But that constant poke from Team Liquid, look how low they are here. Chris has to go back. Top lane is pressured. This was fantastic by Team Liquid. That didn't look like much. That really didn't look like it was a big deal. But if the boss is taken here, then everything's open to the Ducks. They can go to the top lane, take the second boss, they can push through the bottom, they're guaranteed a keep. This was massive. That defense by Team Liquid, mwah.
Giants also get the keep too, as Eric pushed in the top lane. So now catapult pressure is there. The last final boulder from the Giant did secure it. Hasselhoff's even tried to grab the attention, but Greyman was focused on killing Giants, knowing how close they were to death. It did not work out, and the map has suddenly opened up. Sport Billy going Viking hunting, man. Hunting season is in. They're going to keep chasing around with Zeratul. But once again, Team Liquid has just stayed in this bottom left part. They have to keep playing Duck's Eye, their vision in this area, to keep the Vikings being effective.
That level 20 is huge for Team Liquid. And they have all the tools. The double storm coming in, the top lane is down. And once you lose keeps, you are in trouble, because these catapults are pushing, and if the Vikings are splitting with that now as well, that's even worse. So right now, if you look at the 20 on the side of the Vikings, we're having already one of the most important talents, Fury of the Storm, taken, because the wave clear is now heavily increased for them. So with the added help of catapults pushing the lanes already, Vikings can make these catapults go towards your core so fast. So you're running out of time super fast.
Team Liquid just keeps grabbing also the Giants in the top left corner, which just keeps being a thorn in the side. Sport Billy is forced to deal with this on the left side. Now 20 does hit for the playing Ducks, and this is their go button. We got 20. Let's force a fight. We got to make it happen. Tribute spawning on the bottom right side. Team Liquid is going to grab it. They have already Splendor on the Malfurion channeling, so they will have 2 out of the 3.
Yeah, and this is 20 now for the playing Ducks, as he said, but still, their problem is the same. We have the Vikings playing around them. With play again, you can always jump into the team fight. And constantly, Zeratul is forced to deal with the top. Vision is re-grabbed by Eric every time. Everyone is dancing around these bosses, because if a boss is taken now, that it could be game for either side. So they're very cautious with that. Olaf is being attacked, survives here, well done. Still in the mid lane right now. Once again, we have Eric working in the mid lane. Top keep is dead. Catapults are pushing towards the core. Let's focus on the middle and try to annihilate the second one.
Playing Ducks is dancing around the boss, hoping to get Team Liquid to overstep and try and go for the defense. Neuralk's on the left, chunking here. He does have the teleport available for him at the level 20 that he has picked up. Sport Billy taking massive damage though. Isn't being forced to get healed up. And the call has been made. Nande has used Odin.
Hernandez used Odin, but watch the minimap. The Vikings going in again. Here comes the Ancestor. Now the Void Prison. Immediately we see Blumby moving in for it. And the Vikings are now also moving in for a potential kill. They're going for the stun. Blumby is low, but the stun against Arthas. And here comes the Horrify. Goodbye, Sweet Prince. He's dead. And this is, or could be, the beginning of the end.
Yes, poor Billy gets revealed. He's being chased down. He's low on health. Darkmark is looking for some takedowns, and he will get it. He's low on health, though. Wolfjo will be able to retreat with the aid of Chris here, as well as Nande. So the damage is here to help clear things out, but 2 members are down for the Playing Ducks. We're going to need a miraculous defense.
And it's going to be a curse any second right now. We see up at the top already, Eric is on the purse point. The catapults are pushing in the damage down here. It's Wolfjo. This is it. This is the end. This is Team Liquid pushing through. 4 heroes are dead for the Playing Ducks. The core is losing hit points. The curse has hit, and it has hit hard. Tychus is falling as well. And Team Liquid, in an insane series, is going for the core. They end the game. GG!
Well played by Team Liquid. They will remain undefeated in HGC Europe, but boy, was that a series. We went all the way to game number 5. The Playing Ducks, they have moments of glory. They didn't have it quite yesterday, but today it was a different team.
They deserve the win. They really deserve the win here. I'm happy for Team Liquid that they are still undefeated. It's an incredible record to hold, but at the same time, that was such an impressive performance by the Playing Ducks. It was insane. And again, we were talking about it. This could have been a 3-0. Towers of Doom was such a close map, and you can really argue that the reason why the Playing Ducks lost it is because of one bad judgment. So this could have been a 3-0 series, but in the end, Team Liquid, they are still undefeated. But if Playing Ducks can play like this against other teams, oh boy, have the top 3, be careful.
Yeah, they certainly do need to be careful. And, you know, Misfits, or Team Liquid is the Misfits. Obviously, the Team Liquid has just been so good at doing what they've been doing for the last few weeks. They come back, they know how to win the best of 5 series. That's where their experience and their control type of style works out for them. And here in game number 5, it just pulled out. The drafting in particular, the Vikings play, the last second clutch pullout of that hero that they've had so much success with in the past, just coming out and really making it work for them.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Vikings here, it was a risk. It was definitely a risk, especially against that Zeratul play. But it was absolutely perfect. Hazops did exactly what he had to do. They put a lot of pressure in the team fights, also on Zeratul and other heroes, after they had the stun available on the Vikings. And guys, again, if you at some point play with the Vikings, make sure that at least at 16 you get the stun on Olaf. It is the one tool that enables you to go into these team fights and have a huge impact. You can go into the back line and really put the pressure on. That's what he did. He soloed at some point even Zeratul, and he was always on the lanes, and his team understood how to play with the Vikings. Delay, 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 and then you run out, the opponent runs out of time.
Well, it looks like we have Nurok on the phone here. Hey, thank you for joining us.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Oh, it is going well. That was a series.
Indeed it was. The 5 games were definitely not planned. This is not becoming a trend, so no, I hope not, at least. I hope not.
Well, what do you think about the Playing Ducks? I mean, they came out here, they came out swinging. Is it something that you guys just were not prepared for overall, or did they just have a really great day?
I think it's a bit of both. We prepared for them for sure, but we underestimated them quite a bit, I guess. Yeah, but we prepared for sure, and they had a very good day. Like, they had a very good draft on Towers of Doom, for example, and the Battlefield draft was also very good. Like, the drafts in general were very good from Playing Ducks, I would say, and they played quite well, so they made our lives quite hard today.
I wanted to ask you, was there ever a moment in that best of 5 series where you were like, hey, our undefeated season might go down the drain here?
Actually, maybe yes, but only for a split second. And afterwards, I'm gathering myself very fast, and the team was also gathering very fast. So I think no one of us thought, oh, guys, this is over. We should just GG out and go next series. But no, it was never at that point, I would say.
Awesome.
Erstmal Grüße nach Deutschland. Natürlich herzlichen Glückwunsch zum Sieg. Gut gespielt.
Vielen Dank.
That being said, talking about Towers of Doom just for a moment, because we looked at the draft, and for me personally, when I looked at the draft before the game started, it wasn't really quite clear what exactly we were trying to do. Did you expect them to go into Judgment and really just with the double Zeratul try to go for these backline snipes against the Lucio, or was that something you had to adapt to in the middle of the game when it started to happen?
Yes, actually, once we saw the triple pick, we expected them to go for Judgment because Judgment is quite popular these days, especially against Lucio. It's a very good pick because Lucio has no cleanse, and if you just Judgment with Lucio, in theory, he might just pop and he might just die. But since we prepared for that, we just picked the Medivh, and we wanted to prevent that with the Medivh pick. So we made still some mistakes, and the draft didn't work out quite well for us, and they played quite well. So yeah, it was a very close game, but it shouldn't have been as close, I would say.
On the last map, the last pick that you guys went for was the Vikings. And we've been talking about this quite a bit. It, of course, worked out beautifully. I mean, Hazov's had a great game on the hero. When you started to pick it, was it something where you said, okay, this is a bit for a risk for us, picking that into a Zeratul, especially judging from how well we saw Spot Billy play today on the hero? Or was that a point where you said, okay, this is a win for us?
No, once they didn't ban the Vikings as second pick, and we knew that we would get the Vikings 100%. I was 100% sure Hazel will just carry us, and we can just go AFK and we will win the game 100%. Like Zeratul is not necessarily the best pick against Vikings. It depends. Like some other heroes are more punishing for Vikings, like pushing heroes, for example, the Arca, Ragnaros, or Force that are quite more annoying. And Zeratul is more kind of a killer for Vikings, but it was okay.
All right, thank you very much.
You are finished for the weekend, but you got to start thinking about next week. You're facing off against Synergy. Some thoughts about that matchup?
Actually, I watched some of her games, and I would say they would have improved for sure after the break. So maybe this series will go 5 games as well, and maybe we might actually lose. But we will give our best to improve, because I would say we are definitely not playing our best for now, and we are doing mistakes which we normally don't do. But I'm not sure why, but we have to improve for sure if we want to go to a mid-season brawl.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on your victory today. We continue to enjoy watching you and the team. Any major shout-outs before I let you go?
Yes, a big shout out to Team Liquid and our sponsors, HyperX, Racer, and Monster Energy. And a big shout out to all our fans. We are very sorry for the 5 games. Actually, maybe you enjoy watching us.
We loved
it. Thank you. We appreciate it.
I guess, yes. I guess you appreciate it. So you're welcome, guys.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Congratulations again to Team Liquid. They are currently undefeated still. We're going to be right back with more matchups. We got Expert taking on Dignitas for match number 2 today.
Orphaned as a young child, Valera Sanguinar has led a life of hardship and adventure. She forged iron bonds of friendship with Brawl Bearmantle and Varian Rin while fighting alongside them as a gladiator. Even after becoming Varian's advisor and bodyguard, she held on to her independence, which she still maintains as a member of the secretive Uncrowned. Now in the Nexus, Valera is loyal to neither the Horde nor the Alliance, but to her friends and herself. Valera is a quick and deceptive assassin who strikes from the shadows with deadly combo attacks. Valera uses energy instead of mana to cast her abilities. Unlike mana, energy constantly replenishes at a rapid rate. She also generates combo points when using certain abilities on enemy heroes, which she spends to make her finishing move much more powerful. Valera's first ability is Sinister Strike. Valera dashes forward, striking all enemies in a straight line. If she hits an enemy hero, she stops immediately, generates a combo point, and the ability's cooldown is significantly reduced. With Blade Flurry, Valera can damage multiple enemies at once by spinning her blades in an area around her, generating a combo point for each hero she hits. Eviscerate, Valera's finishing move, can only be used if she has combo points. Casting this ability spends all of her points to slash an enemy with both blades at once. The more combo points she spends, the greater damage Eviscerate deals. Valera's trait is Vanish. Just like the WoW Rogue ability, activating Vanish immediately places Valera in stealth, granting her an entire new set of abilities. All of her abilities in stealth generate combo points and bring her out of stealth when she uses them. Ambush is Valeera's signature combat opener, stabbing an unsuspecting enemy with her daggers for heavy damage. If you need crowd control, Cheap Shot allows Valeera to stun an enemy while also dealing a small amount of damage. Garrote is a particularly vicious opener. Along with its initial damage, this ability silences an enemy and deals additional damage over time. The first of Valeera's heroic abilities is Smoke Bomb. She creates a cloud of smoke at her current location. As long as she remains in the cloud, she takes reduced damage and can't be revealed, even while attacking and using her abilities. When using Cloak of Shadows, Valeera shrouds herself in darkness and becomes unstoppable. Valeera also takes reduced ability damage and clears herself of all existing damage over time effects. Valeera excels at isolating powerful enemy heroes and shutting them down. Cheap Shot and Garrote, along with several of her talents, give her plenty of options for keeping the biggest threat to her team on lockdown. Be on the lookout for opportunities to use Valeera's abilities to their greatest potential. Use Blade Flurry when enemies are grouped up to instantly generate 3 combo points. Sinister Strike's dash can be used for its mobility as well as its attack, allowing you to dodge skill shots or escape from a fight. Vanish gives you access to powerful opening attacks, but don't be afraid to start fights out of stealth, then vanish mid-combat to trip up your opponents and continue racking up the damage. When fighting against Valeera, try to knock her out of stealth so that her options are limited. Valeera's heroic abilities focus on survivability. Smoke Bomb is great when fighting multiple enemies in melee range, and Cloak of Shadows helps Valeera avoid being locked down or focus fire. Both abilities can be used from stealth without revealing her, making them powerful tools for setting up team fights or assassinating dangerous enemy heroes. As a legendary rogue and a master assassin, Valeera isn't afraid to slice and dice her foes from the shadows or face to face. Make sure to leave us a comment and subscribe to Heroes of the Storm on YouTube and around the web, and we'll see you in the Nexus.
I'll see you in the shadows.